Call to order the New Kent County Board of Supervisors, February 14th, 2022, Valentine's meeting to order. Ms. Page, will you lead us in the invocation and pledge, please?
Oh, precious Father, we come to you in the sweet and precious name of Jesus. We come to thank you, Lord God, for allowing us to be here today. We thank you, Lord God, for allowing us to do business and to do business for this great county. Father God, we ask that you will guide our hearts and our minds, that we make decisions and we will say and we will do everything that is pleasing unto you, that we will do it in decent and in order, dear God. And Father God, we just want you to know that we thank you and we love you, and these and all blessings we ask. In your mighty name say, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Ms. Page. Ms. Watkins, will you call the roll, please?
Mr. Evelyn?
Here.
Mr. Tiller?
Here.
Ms. Page?
Here.
Mr. Sears?
Here.
And Mr. Lockwood?
Here.
Good evening. Welcome everyone tonight to our board meeting. Happy Valentine's Day to everyone out in the audience and everyone at home. With that, we'll get started on our agenda tonight. First, the consent agenda. Board members, I assume you have a chance to look at it. Are there any changes or concerns, revisions?
Mr. Chairman, if there are not, I have a motion.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the consent agenda as presented and that it be made as part of the record.
Ms. Page has motion. Is there any discussion? If none, Ms. Watkins, will you poll the members?
Mr. Tiller?
Aye.
Ms. Page?
Aye.
Mr. Sears? Mr. Lockwood?
Aye.
And Mr. Evelyn?
Aye. Next tonight we have a special presentation. I will turn it over to Ms. Page.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman and my fellow board members, as we know, during the pandemic, we had citizens and organizations that did some pretty outstanding things here in New Kent County to help us make it through COVID-19. And so tonight we want to recognize one of our churches that stood up. And so I will read the resolution for them. Board of Supervisors, County of New Kent, Virginia, R-03-22. At a regular meeting of the Board of Supervisors of the County of New Kent in the boardroom of the Administration Building in New Kent County on the 26th day of January 2022. A motion was made by Ms. Page, which carried a 5-0 to adopt the following resolution. The resolution recognizing New Elam Baptist Church for outstanding community service during the COVID-19 pandemic. Whereas New Elam Baptist Church, a predominantly black church in New Kent County, has served and uplifted members of the community for 155 years. And whereas on January 1st, 2018, Reverend Leslie C. Venable Jr. was called as pastor, and whereas New Elam Baptist Church's mission is to provide fellowship and worship to the congregation and support outreach to the community. And whereas the Governor of Virginia declared a state of emergency as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic on March 12, 2020. And whereas the United States Department of Agriculture Supplementary Nutrition Assistance Program responded to the needs of many whose normal food supply chain was disrupted due to the pandemic by organizing community food programs. And whereas New Elam Baptist Church, seeing the need of so many in the community and surrounding communities, organized a drive-in food drive on this site located on Cumberland Road in New Kent County. And whereas the New Elam Men and Women Support Team, under the leadership of Deacon Robert Wright gathered one Saturday a month with Deaconess Consuela White, Larry Woodson, Joe Crump, Thomas Jefferson, Deacon Tyrone Johnson, Deacon Melvin Crawford, Deacon Keith Scott, Deacon Sam Jefferson, and Pastor Les Venable. This team solicited the help of West Point Ace Hardware for pallet jacks, Pastor Jack and the men of the United Fellowship and the forklift drivers, Kevin Sandy's crew, and Deacon Keith Scott. And whereas New Elam Baptist Church distributed over 13,500 boxes of food over the course of 9 months, each box weighing 32 pounds and contained milk, eggs, cheese, meats, fruits, poultry, and vegetables. And whereas over 17 churches, Charles City Parks and Rec, as well as numerous residents from New Kent and surrounding areas were able to pick up and distribute food. Now therefore, be it resolved that the New Kent Board of Supervisors does hereby commend New Elam Baptist Church for outstanding community service to New Kent County, and it further resolved that the clerk of the Board of Supervisors is directed to prepare a copy of this resolution for presentation to Reverend Leslie Venable, pastor of the New Elam Baptist Church, as an expression of New Kent County's gratitude and admiration for the church's commitment to serving God and his people. Signed, Rodney Hathaway, County Administrator, Thomas W. Evelyn, Board Chair. And you can appreciate this, Mr. Chairman. Pastor Venable could not be here because today is his wife's birthday. So
I completely understand that.
So if we would have a member from New Elam to come up and accept this on behalf of, come on here. This Deacon Crawford. Deacon Johnson. Thank you so very, very much. And we appreciate everything that was done on behalf of New Elam Baptist Church, family and friends.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. And so, Mr. Chairman, nothing is a success without great leadership. So we also have a certificate of appreciation, and this is awarded to Deacon Robert Wright for his outstanding leadership in organizing, ordering food, and scheduling volunteers to assist in the success of the food drives held at the New Elam Baptist Church in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. And it's signed Patricia A. Page, District 3, New Kent County Board of Supervisors on February 14, 2022. Deacon Wright, thank you so much, sir. Absolutely. We appreciate you.
Thank you, Ms. Page, and thanks, New Elam, for everything you've done for our community. And also, I'd like to give a shout out to all the churches throughout New Kent that has been providing assistance to the citizens of New Kent County during this pandemic. So thank you all. Next, we have the citizens' comment period. Could you bring the sign-up sheet? So we have a few people signed up tonight. I would like to remind everyone of our bylaws. When I call your name, will you come up to the mic, state your name and address for the record, and you'll be given 3 minutes to speak. First, Gregory Rimmer. Sorry.
Hi, my name is Gregory Reimer, 17550 Stage Road, Lenexa. I'm here tonight to speak of my concern about the rehab camp that is being proposed in near my home. There are a number of issues I have with this kind of a rehab center. For one thing, habitual drug users, addicts, don't normally change their behavior right away. This camp is not going to allow them to come and go. We are basically bringing in a large number of individuals who have a drug addiction that modifies their behavior in ways that make it more likely that they'll commit crime. We're basically going to be importing a crime problem into our neighborhood. I have a lot of experience with this because I have nephews who are long-term drug addicts. They've gone to rehab a number of times. The only time they've been clean is when they're in jail, and usually when they're out of jail, they get they have an overdose because their body has no longer the resistance to the dosages that they were used to. Their behavior has altered significantly since before, when they were not addicts. They'll prey on anybody, including their family, in order to get enough money to purchase drugs. Not only are we importing drug users, we'll probably be importing drug dealers, because when there are drug users, there are drug dealers. That just goes without saying. They will be able to find these people. And New Kent is a rapidly growing county. It's low in population right now, but we are probably going to see stresses on our infrastructure even as it is with the rapid growth that we're experiencing. This will add additional stress on those limited resources because we'll undoubtedly have to use our medical resources and our police resources at some point because of the people that are going to be in this camp. Thank you very much. I appreciate your listening to me.
Thank you. Next, Robert Dowling.
Good afternoon. My name is Robert Downing. I live at 3931 Ropers Church Road, Lenexa, Virginia. And I'm here to talk about the same thing, the drug rehab facility that they want to put in over there at McNamee Woods. For some reason, the county keeps on wanting to put in a lot of businesses down there. You remember several years ago as a racetrack. The infrastructure is not there. I don't know how many of y'all have driven down Stage Road onto Ropers Church Road. But if you do and you pass a vehicle, one of you got to go in the ditch and one of you going to stay on the road. And if you come in from the other end, Stewart's Road, you got a one-lane bridge that goes over the reservoir. Somebody has to stop. Now you're going to put more trucks on there because they got to bring food in. You're going to put more vehicles running up and down that road because these people still got to go to work, from what I understand. And they come back. And then on top of that, you keep growing at that end and you're not doing anything to improve the roads. I don't think there's been any kind of a study ever done on Ropers Church or Stage because a lot of people use it for a cut-through road from Barhamsville to Lenexa. And then you got the people that use it for the reservoir. So you got boats running up and down the road all the time. And I've lived there 27 years. And from 27 years ago to today, I would say there's 4 or 5 times the amount of traffic on that road. You didn't finish the road from Stage Road over on 33 all the way through. You blacktopped it, part of it, and it's breaking apart. I don't know if you guys have been down there, but you need to really ride down there and take a look and see what we're talking about. The last part is I think this group has gone bankrupt 3 times. I think they were 5 years behind in taxes in Newport News. Is this really the kind of business we want to bring to this county? I mean, you guys are the one in charge. We're the ones that have to deal with it. You know, I pay my taxes year after year. I've been in business 25 years in this county. I don't have a problem. Obviously, they do. And then the last part of it is, it's to my understanding that these people have free reins. Well, if they're looking for work, how far they got to travel? If these people just got out of jail and rehab, what kind of vehicle they got? Are you gonna? It's not like in Newport News where you can get on a bus and go. So you guys really need to think about what you want to put at that end of the county, where you want to put it, and what you got to do to get it right for the citizens of that county first, and then build the businesses up.
Thank you for your comments.
All right.
Next, Reverend Milton Hathaway. Sir?
Could I hold mine here?
Yes, sir. Betsy Sink.
Hello, good evening. I'm here with also the group.
Can you state your name and address for
My
the
name
record?
is Betsy Sink. I live at 17575 Stage Road, about a half mile away from McKinney Woods Campground. As you can see, I have 3 small children that are in the New Kent Middle School and Elementary School, as well as we live on a bit of rural property where they have bikes and 4-wheelers and live in the country life. That's why we moved to New Kent in love. Just want to speak also about a few things that my fellow cohorts here have not mentioned about at our town hall meeting with Mr. Travis Hall. He mentioned, Sheriff was there, and he mentioned that our average response time to that area is 15 minutes. So if there is to be criminal activity, if my children's bicycles or something like that are to be lifted or worse, we have an average response time of 15 minutes. So that's if there's not something else going on in the county before we can get help. And so that's disturbing. It's not something that is usually an issue out there. We've never had any problem with it. And it's not something that we're complaining about unless we have a facility such as this that gives us that inherent danger. In addition to that, the small businesses that will affect in New Kent. So Mr. Hall mentioned that they have micro enterprises where they do construction, they do yard work, tree work, so forth. And so what kind of competition is that going to bring to our local businesses that also are in those fields of business that pay their laborers, unlike the Faith Recovery Group? They don't pay their laborers. Their money goes towards their rehab treatment. So with that, the competition is greatly off balance, is another concern for our small businesses in New Kent. Again, I think this is something that we as a neighborhood are coming together and rallying against. You can see our orange shirts, just a few of us represented here tonight, that we've started putting together as of Saturday this weekend, as well as a petition where we've already gotten well over 100 signatures. And in the petition, we're asking that the Presbyterian Church of Virginia, of Eastern Virginia, reconsiders their sale to Faith Recovery, as well as that the Board of Supervisors, the proposal that creates the residential inpatient is denied, and that if there's any rezoning for the property for the inpatient facility, that it's also denied, and that New Kent Planning Commission would also vote against any kind of CUP that would allow the residential rehab facility, and that New Kent would even consider purchasing the property in the near future as a park or some sort of resource for that end of the county where there are very few. I understand we need resources like this in the county, but why can't we start on a smaller level? Why can't we start with the churches to offer AA meetings and NA meetings on a smaller level and really help our community, not bringing those in from Newport News and Hampton? I also find it interesting that Mr. Travis Hall, when he spoke to the Planning Commission, he said that it was a 50-50 as far as the incarcerated versus the just people coming off the street wanting to get help. And he spoke of that because there was a benefit to the county not to have to pay for the jail time, I guess, where when he spoke with our town hall meeting, he told us that only 2 to 3 people in their 20-person program right now are incarcerated, come from incarcerated system. So the numbers there varying is very concerning to me. I think it changes first on his audience. And so I just have a lot of concerns with, again, their bankruptcy and foreclosure in Newport News and why they want to move to New Kent, as well as putting a facility out there, what it does to the neighbors.
Thank you.
Thanks
Ms.
for
Singh, for your
consideration.
comments. Next, Joy Miller.
Sorry, Jeff. Yeah, I'm good.
You're good. All right. So that closes the citizens' comment period. Mr. Lockwood?
Yes, Chair, yes. First, I just want to thank everybody for coming out this evening. I want to thank the folks that did attend the town hall that we had at McKinley Woods. And a couple things I just would like to point out. First of all, the county did not solicit this group to come to New Kent. They found the property on their own and decided that it might be a good fit for them. So it's not something that we've tried to bring to the county. Also, just so everybody knows, we're just now getting started. They have only filed like a preliminary application with the county. So this is not moving forward at a fast pace. It's not being fast-tracked. I held that town hall meeting, and I plan on holding at least one more. I'm gathering information myself, and I just would like y'all to know that, we don't normally respond to public comments, but I do want you to know that you are being heard, we are listening, and we have to go through this legal process with this applicant in the order that is prescribed by law. So we're just doing our due diligence as well. I welcome your emails and phone calls, and you can reach out to me anytime, and I will do my best to respond to you quickly. So thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, ma'am.
Just very briefly, Mr. Downing, I believe, commented on visiting Stage Road. So, sir, I can tell you that I am a frequent rider of Stage Road. And I can also tell you that one of the efforts was done to do that road in rural rustic. VDOT is here. And one of my questions tonight to VDOT is, when are we going to come back to Stage Road? And so they can attest to me, I guess you would say, aggravating them almost every month about Stage Road, as well as a couple of other roads that's on the radar. So absolutely, I can tell you that that end of the road and the road conditions down there have been brought up several times, and they have been, and I visit those roads frequently. And we even came out and did a measurement to do the stop bar on the end of Stage and Ropers, right at the end of that road. And any other complaint down there, the zoning manager is here. When we had to visit that house down there that was having a party. So I want you to know that that your complaints do not fall on deaf ears. And so, and just like the rest of our Board of Supervisors, we absolutely entertain your voice. So we thank you for that. And happy Valentine's Day.
All right. Anyone else?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. When I walked out and saw everybody in orange shirts, I wanted to tell you guys we stopped the combat training system from coming. So at least you guys have picked a great color. Thank you.
All right. Again, thank you all for coming out. I do not blame you at all for coming to get on top of this very quickly. I mean, I actually just heard about it a couple weeks ago it's not in my area, but I do applaud Mr. Lockwood and Ms. Page getting on top of everything and trying to be forthright with all the citizens and constituents out in that area. So we hear your concerns. Next is the Residency Administrator's Report. Mr. Wynn.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Marshall Wynn with VDOT. This past month, we've had 54 work orders, completed 41, had one call out. Working on maintenance issues throughout the county with potholes, shoulder repair, pipe cleaning, some ditching, debris removal and such as that. We've been working on several nuisance snow events through the month. Been a pain. Yesterday we were out pretty much all day and didn't have to do anything, luckily. So other than that, we have pending studies on 60 and 33 that haven't been completed yet. Do have the completed study over there at 106 and Jimmy Burrell. That work has been done. The stop signs have been replaced and the no parking signs have been installed. We have room to add more no parking signs if we need to. We didn't put all of them in there that were on the traffic engineering website. It would look flooded out there pretty much. So other than that, I really don't have anything else to add with the report. I just hope the next 2 or 3 weeks are warmer and we don't have any snow events.
Totally agree. Mr. Steers, do you have anything?
I actually don't have anything, but I just wanted to tell you that we appreciate your expedited clearing the streets and the roads, what little bit of snow we did have. I know there were some comments made yesterday about why you pre-treated the roads when we were only getting a dusting of snow. But, you know, I don't always trust my weatherman either. And I know that we've been told we were going to get a dusting before and we got 8 inches of snow. So I was glad to see that you guys prepared for the worst.
It's very correct. It all started with the I-95
Exactly.
issue up
Yes,
in
sir.
Fredericksburg. So
But we appreciate it.
I
Thank
can
you.
still see the brine on 249, actually. Yeah.
Mr. Tiller?
Just one comment. On Henpeck Road, I think it's Kingsfield, that little subdivision there. They haven't done any work in there, or at least they haven't done any work on that road for probably a year and a half. Can we get those road construction signs taken down?
Who do they belong to?
I have no idea. I thought they were y'all's.
Nah, we'll look at it and take them down.
They're right in the ditch line,
Okay.
going both ways, right there at
I
Kingsfield.
know what you're talking about. When we were working on Henpeck, I saw them when they were doing the work with that pipe replacement.
Okay,
Okay,
all right. Thank you. That's it.
okay.
Mr. Lockwood?
Yes, Mr. Wynn, I did speak to Kevin O'Neill, engineering work, and he sent me some drawings from the Holly Fort and Dam.
Yeah, I saw that.
I did forward those on to the property owner. At this point, they've not raised any concerns with me. They may try to coordinate with you guys with some repair that might need to be done below the surface when you guys remove that top deck. But we'll worry about that if they bring anything to us. In your email last, you said the plan was sometime mid-March to early April.
Correct.
That's going to come up quick. If I could just request that you give us 2 weeks' notice before you start to let folks know, because it is going to be disruptive. It's going to be, according to yours, a couple of months at least. So that's going to close that access to the area, and that's a heavily traveled area. So
Yeah, they're looking to prefab that deck and bring it in on a truck to set it instead of forming it in place.
Right.
That will expedite the repairs quite a bit, but I sure will let you know ahead of time.
Okay, great.
Okay?
Thank you. That's all I have.
Ms. Page?
Yes, sir. Mr. Nguyen, we talked about Cooks Mill Road, and so we're gonna finish Cooks Mill Road in the spring. Are we like at the top of the list for that?
Yeah, that road right there is on the resurfacing schedule.
Okay, and then you heard Stage Road?
Yes.
And we talked about that and talked about that.
Be in the spring when asphalt plants open, when we can do some work in warmer weather.
Okay,
I mean, only part of it was rural rustic, the rest of it is non-hard surface.
okay. I'm talking to Rural Rustic
Okay.
from Polish Town to Roper's Church through there.
Yes, ma'am.
And then I wanted to thank you for patching the decaying shoulders of the road along 249. I see some down in Cooks Mill Road, and then some on Stage Road and Good Hope all through there. So just wanted to thank you because it was getting a little dangerous for that. And then we do have several potholes. It's the same reoccurring potholes just before you get to Sade Creek.
Okay.
It's those same three. So, if we could do something with that. And with that, all I can say is thank you so much and continue to be safe, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Mr. Wynn, thank you for your report.
Okay. Y'all have a safe night and happy Valentine's Day.
Yeah. Thank you. Next, we have 3 presentations. Item 1, CUP-04-21, Quentin Homes LLC. Matthew Starr, Resolution R-31-21. R1, Ms. Leduc.
Thank you, sir. Good evening. Just going to give a brief recap of where we are with this. This CUP application for a request to extend the expiration date of an existing use permit was deferred from the December 13th board meeting to allow the applicant to revise some language regarding fencing requirements. Mr. Starr has submitted revised language that can be found in draft condition L in your board resolution, R-31-21, before you this evening for consideration. The original CUP was approved in 2017 and is to allow the construction of a mini storage facility on tax parcel 19-52. And just as a reminder, the Planning Commission considered this amendment at their meeting on November 15th and voted unanimously to recommend approval. And Mr. Starr is here tonight if you have any questions for either of us.
Thank you. Ms. Starr, do you have any comments you want to make?
I don't have any, unless you have a question for me. I've added in the language that hopefully should be sufficient to make sure this is aesthetically pleasing to the county and adjacent property owners.
Any board members have any questions for Mr. Starr?
Mr. Chair, I just think that the comments that I did have about the appearance and all of that is answered in this amended or revised resolution.
I would agree. All right, if there's no other comments, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair.
Ms. Tiller?
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve Resolution R-31-21 R1.
Thank you, Ms. Tiller. Are there any comments? None. Ms. Watkins, will you poll the members?
Ms. Page?
Aye.
Mr. Steers? Aye. Mr. Lockwood? Aye. Mr. Tiller? Aye. And Mr. Evelyn?
Aye. Thank y'all.
Thank you, board.
Item 2, Resolution R-07-22, initiation of zoning ordinance amendment to establish commerce corridor overlay regulations. Mr. Hathaway.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. The resolution that you have before you initiates a zoning ordinance amendment to expand the existing Bottoms Bridge corridor overlay district to various areas of the county. The overlay corridor district establishes additional landscaping and architectural standards for non-residential uses within the district. The areas proposed to be included in the district are New Kent Highway, Route 60, Talliesville Road, Courthouse Road, and Eltham Road, which are primarily the county's commercial corridors. Again, this would not apply to residential uses, and adoption of this ordinance would simply send the draft that you have before you to the Planning Commission for consideration and a public hearing. so that they can prepare a recommendation for you.
Thank you, Mr. Hathaway. Any board members have any comments or questions for Mr. Hathaway? I think it's,
Actually, I did. I'm just curious, Mr. Hathaway, do we have any idea how long it would take for them to go through this and move it forward back to us?
Well, I'm hoping it's something that can be done quickly. The draft is already prepared. It's included in your packet. So it's not like we're asking the Planning Commission to draft an ordinance. It's already done.
So they're just going to be adding these locations to what's already there, in a
Yes.
sense? Okay.
Yes.
All right, so hopefully not too long.
Yeah.
Thank you.
the Tallysville Road area, is that all the way to Old River? Tallysville, all the way, I can't.
No, I believe what we've drafted, which can be changed, is south of Interstate 64. The area north of Interstate 64 is already encumbered by the PUD, Farms and New Kent PUD, which has extensive additional landscaping and architectural standards already.
Okay. Oh, so it's Emmaus Church Road. So.
Emmaus.
Yeah, that's what. Okay, I was trying to. I didn't see Tallysville on there. I got you. Put your mic on, Ms. Page.
So we're talking about that part of the farms, but as we cross the overstate on 106, does it include that?
Everything south of Interstate 64.
Okay. Okay. I'm good. Mr. Chairman?
Yes, ma'am.
Are there no more comments or discussion?
Any more?
I move to adopt resolution R-07-22 to initiate a zoning text amendment to establish Commerce Coordinator overlay regulations.
Thank you, Ms. Page. Ms. Watkins, will you poll the members?
Mr. Steers? Aye. Mr. Lockwood? Aye. Mr. Tiller? Aye. Ms. Page? Aye. And Mr. Evelyn?
Aye. Motion passed. Item 3, consideration of revised purchase agreement for approximately 7.99 acres in the Lenexa area for the construction of a new fire station to replace Fire Station Number 4. Mr. Hathaway.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. At your last meeting, you authorized me to execute a purchase agreement for the purchase of 7.71 acres for a purchase price of $325,000 for property located at the intersection of Pocahontas Trail and Waterside Drive. During that time, it was the intention of the seller to retain a small piece of land, about 0.05 acres on the south side of Pocahontas Trail, which is actually part of this property, and another out parcel on the on the west side of Waterside Drive, which is also part of this property. The seller now wishes to sell the entire property instead of subdividing and retaining. So now that 7.71 acres, the purchase agreement has been revised to 7.99 acres, and the purchase price has been revised from $325,000 to $345,000. With the change, that requires new action from the board to give me authorization to sign the purchase agreement. And for the public that's listening, the purpose of the purchase is to construct a new fire station to replace Fire Station Number 4.
Thank you, Mr. Hathaway. Any questions or comments? Ms. Tiller?
Yes, Mr. Hathaway.
Yes.
0.5 acres, you said they're on the south side of 60?
0.05, yes.
We can't do anything with that.
There is currently a billboard on that property, and the owner has a lease arrangement with one of the marinas on the Chickahominy. they have a billboard there, and that marina pays rent to the current owner. We've not decided whether we want to continue that arrangement, but it's definitely your choice if you want to continue that.
Taylor's, is it Taylor's Marina?
Is there a Riverside Marina?
Yeah.
I believe it's Riverside Marina.
What made them decide they just wanted to be done with all the property? I know when we met with them, is that pretty much?
Well, yes, basically, and subdividing those properties out got very complicated, being in accordance with our subdivision and zoning ordinance.
So this would be cleaner?
Yes.
Okay. Ms. Lockwood?
Is the property along Waterside and Pocahontas, how big is that piece on the corner there?
The out parcel on the west side of Waterside is 0.23 acres, approximately.
Is there anything that we would see us doing with a quarter of an acre of?
You know,
I mean, trees are good. I don't have a problem with that.
We're doing preliminary engineering work. A lot of that depends on the soils out there, and at this point, we don't know what the soils look like and how much land you're going to need for a drain field septic system. At this point, we don't know.
Put another billboard.
Get some revenue. Yeah, I like that. Okay, that's fine. I can see him wanting to just be done with it.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right, any other comments?
Mr.
None,
Chairman?
I'll entertain a motion. Ms. Lockwood?
Mr. Chairman, I move to authorize the county administrator to execute a revised purchase agreement with No Bear Crawling LLC in a form approved by the county attorney for the purchase of tax map parcels 45-29C, 45-29D, 45-32B, and 45-29B, totaling approximately 7.99 acres, with a purchase price not to exceed $345,000.
Thank you, Ms. Lockwood. Any other comments? None, Ms. Watkins, poll the members.
Mr. Lockwood?
Aye.
Mr. Tiller?
Aye.
Ms. Page? Aye. Mr. Steers?
Aye.
And Mr. Evelyn?
Aye. All right. We have to wait till 7 o'clock for our public hearing, so let's go to staff reports. Mr. Hathaway?
I have none. Thank you.
Adjourn the meeting.
Yeah. I think he knows it's my wife's birthday, so he knows I got to get out of here. So, other business? Let's go to appointments. Delegated by district. Anybody have any? I'm not going. Ms. Tiller?
I move to appoint Matt Downs as a District 2 representative to the Airport Advisory Commission to serve a term beginning January 1st, 2022 and ending December 31st, 2025.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
I move to appoint Gene Street as District 3 alternate representative to the Historic Commission to serve a 4-year term beginning January 1st, 2022, ending December 31st, 2025. I move to appoint Sidney Burrell as District 3 representative to the Transportation Safety Commission to serve a 4-year term beginning January 1st, 2022, ending December 31st, 2025. That's all I have, sir.
Anybody else?
Mr. Chairman, I would like to appoint Derek Kestner as District 4 representative to the Clean County Committee to serve a 4-year term beginning January 1, 2022 and ending December 31, 2025.
All right. Thank you. Ms. Watkins, can you call the roll on appointments delegated by districts, please?
Mr. Tiller?
Aye.
Ms. Page? Aye. Mr. Steers? Mr. Lockwood. And Mr. Evelyn.
Aye. Appointments not delegated by district. Anybody have any?
I beg. You tell me I'm trying, and I'm not gonna give up.
All right. If there's none, we'll go to appointments of regional boards and commissions. There's only one vacancy. Anybody? We have none? All right. Nominations for the Board of Equalization. I move to nominate William Wallace for the Circuit Court appointment as a member of the Board of Equalization to serve a term ending December 31st, 2022. Any others?
Mr. Chairman, I move to appoint Russell Byer for Circuit Court appointment as a member of the Board of Equalization to serve a term ending December 31st, 2022.
Ms. Watkins, will you poll the members on the nominations for the Board of Equalization, please?
Ms. Page. Aye. Mr. Steers. Aye. Mr. Lockwood.
Aye.
Mr. Tiller.
Aye.
And Mr. Evelyn.
Aye. Next, the elected officials report. Mr. Steers?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. On the property we were just discussing purchasing for the new fire station, it was brought to my attention about the history of that property, and I passed out a flyer to each one of you, which I was unaware of this, but it's historical property. The R&D Motel International was frequently featured in editions of Green Book, and a reproduction of the ad from 1962 can be seen. Green Books helped African American travelers find lodging, businesses, and gas stations that would serve them while traveling through the Jim Crow era. And I'm thinking there's a picture there, and I'm hoping that if and when we build the fire station there, that we'll have some kind of plaque commemorating the R&D Motel, and especially since we're purchasing it during Black History Month.
Yep. Thank you, Mr. Steers. Yeah. Mr. Tiller?
No comments right now.
Mr. Lockwood?
I don't have anything in particular other than I just would like to express my appreciation to this board, the county administration, and county staff at their outpouring of love and compassion to Renee and I regarding the passing of her mother recently. And I just want you all to know that I truly appreciate it. So thank you very much.
Ms. Page?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, I would like to recognize our friend that we have missed through the pandemic, which is Mr. Travers, Mr. Hercule Travers. We are so happy to have you back with us tonight, Mr. Travers, and especially because he was just a fixture at all of our meetings. So it is absolutely, along with Pastor Hathaway and Mr. Thomas. And then when I did the presentation for New Elam, I failed to recognize Reverend Johnson and Deacon Johnson. I'm not going to tell you they're my cousins. So anyway, I'm going on with that. And I did not. And so other than to wish Ms. Evelyn a very happy birthday, and a happy Valentine's Day. And I think we have some great news coming up as far as our cleanup and getting stuff recycled in the county. And I gave Mr. Lockwood the opportunity to say that, but he didn't say it, so I'm going to say it. So March the 12th, we're going to have recycling event. We're going to have shredding. We're going to recycle tires and electronics. And right here in the administration parking lot, Of course, we always ask for volunteers to come out. Also, hearing aid batteries, which I can contribute to this year, and eyeglasses. Everybody has 3 or 4 pair of eyeglasses laying around. So the Lions Club in New Kent gonna be here with eyeglasses collection, and so we just ask that you come out and support this event that we give to the county. And we're not like the big locations, so we have unlimited recycling, which is great. And so we thank Clean County Committee for your efforts in doing that. And also, anyone that's interested in District 3 and any of the board vacancies, please go to our county website, look under government, look under local boards, and just volunteer to sit on one of these prestigious committees and boards that we have. And Ms. Watkins will surely make sure that I know, and you will get appointed to serve this great county. So with that being said, that's all I have.
Except I did have one thing to add. You didn't tell them when.
I said March 12th.
March 12th. Oh, you did?
I said March
I
12th. I didn't tell them the time.
From 9 to 1.
I wanted to leave something for you. Okay.
I've been getting a fair amount of calls, and everybody's been riding around the county, and I think I got an email from Mr. Hathaway. I guess we all did this week. I know at our last meeting we said that our trash pickup was going to happen, but then they quit. Just so the public knows, they quit I think they work a week, and all of a sudden they figured they weren't making enough money, so they pulled up. So that's why the trash hadn't been picked up in the county. So if you don't mind, Mr. Hathaway, could you give the public a kind of quick update on where we are with the trash pickup?
Yes, thank you. Actually, there should be crews out there this coming Monday picking up trash throughout the entire county along the roadside. Our former contractor said that they'll do one more cleanup for us while we advertise an invitation for bid for a permanent contract. Our former contractor will do a one-time cleanup. So this Monday, you should see crews along the roadside.
Thank you. All right, with that, we have to wait till 7 o'clock unless any other board members have anything else. We'll take a 10-minute recess. call the February 14th regular board meeting back to order. Yeah. All right, it's after 7 o'clock, so we can start our public hearing. First public hearing tonight is a public hearing, AFD-10-21, withdrawal from the Holtz Creek AFD, a request by Chris Stone to withdraw tax parcel number 24-42, GPIN J20-3367-2258, the Holtz Creek Agriculture and Forestry District. Ms. Adams?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, the applicant, Chris Stone, has submitted an application to withdraw 136.58 acres of his land at 7130 Shooter Run Road from the Holt Creek AFD Forestal District. The Holt Creek District currently consists of 4 parcels totaling approximately 1,049 acres and is just renewed back in 2019, is not set to expire again until 2029. The landowner stated they wish to withdraw the parcel since they could not sustain a farmer to cultivate the property. There was no mention of any of the forestry operations, which a large portion of the parcel is forested. A copy of the application and supporting documents is included in your meeting packet. The tax map parcel number is 24-42, and you can consider this through your ordinance number 0-01-22. In your packet is also the Agricultural and Forestal District Advisory Committee recommendation, which they voted in favor with a vote of 7-0 to 4 to favorable recommendation for withdrawal. The Planning Commission held a public hearing on this application on January the 18th and adopted PC Resolution 0122 with a vote of 9 to 1 abstained with a favorable recommendation for withdrawal. The standard for review for this application is under our County Code Section 6244, which allows withdrawal of land from a district or termination of a district, provided that an owner of any land lying in such district in writing withdraws all or part of his land in the district may be permitted by the board for good and reasonable cause. And I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have.
All right, before we answer any questions, I'll open up the public hearing. Has anyone signed up? No one's signed up. I'll close the public hearing. All right. Anybody have any questions or comments for Ms. Adams? Ms. Tiller?
Ms. Adams, if they withdraw, is that going to affect anybody else's property that's adjoining them, that's connected to this AFD, the Holtz?
Yes, so the district consists of 4 parcels. There are enough remaining acreage in the 3 parcels remaining to not affect the district as a whole. The code requires that at least 200 acres still remain in the district for the district not to be interrupted, and there is well over 200 acres still left in the district with this withdrawal.
All right, one more question. Next question then. I know when people have tried to get in before, we've denied it because they couldn't show any agricultural or forestal reason for using it. And I know it stated that he couldn't get a tenant to lease the property. Could we allow him to stay in another year in case something happens this year as far as a lease, maybe for this fall or this? Would that be okay for us if we left it in to him to do that?
I don't know why it wouldn't. Got some feedback there. That might be a question. That might be a legal question there from Mr. Hefty, and that would probably be Mr. Stone is not here tonight to answer the questions. If that would be acceptable to him, or what the ramifications would be if the board decided not to withdraw the parcel, what the legal ramifications would be for Mr. Stone to appeal the decision.
Ms. Page, you have a comment?
I'll let you go.
No, you're good.
So my understanding with the whole agriculture and forestry program is to help keep our county rural, and so I mean part of the property is being forestry, so it is being forest. So that would qualify the property to be able to stay in AFD, I would imagine. And so, I mean, it was, our residents signed a contract to go into this program, and we honor their contract. I mean, it's not like we wouldn't honor them getting out, but we honor their contract. And so we have the opportunity, you know, to either release, release him out of this, or to allow him time to find somebody to come in and farm his property. And I'm of the persuasion that if it doesn't pass, I mean, he is until 2029 to be in this program. And so I think that we're defeating the purpose of the program. To allow him to get out.
Well,
I need to read that last sentence, right?
Well, Ms. Page, I'll follow up with that. You know, throughout other localities and other counties, you see the land use and people pushing to do away with land use. I mean, this person obviously wants to get out of the AFD because he's already did a minor subdivision on the front parcel. So the only reason he wants to get out, I mean, let's cut to the chase, is he wants to do the same thing on the back. I mean, what precedence is this setting if somebody commits to be in the AFD? I mean, the large landowners are already they're catching a hard time because they think they're getting a tax break. So if you're going to give any landowner, A, B, or C, a tax break, then all of a sudden, once they want to develop it, you're going to let them out and just have to pay 2 or 3 years of back taxes or whatever it is. I mean, what's the use of the AFD program? That's not keeping the county rural. So that's my concern about it. Setting the precedence for whenever it's good for you, the landowner, you can drop back, pay you 3 years of back taxes, 5 years or whatever, and then you go ahead and do it. You're committed to New Kent County to keep this county rural, and I think that's our mission statement, to keep the rural character of this county. So he committed to a 10-year AFD program, and I know we have let people out of the AFD when family members have passed and they have to subdivide lands, families for certain circumstances, which I can understand, but to me, this does not justify being pulled out of the AFD. That's my 2 cents.
So, Mr. Chair, if there are no more comments.
I just had a question. So this went in 2019, is that correct?
That is correct.
Was it a renewal or was this a new applicant?
It was a new ad in 2019.
So it was not previously in the AFD program,
No, sir.
and they added it to the AFD program, and 3 years later they want to take it out of the AFD program.
Precisely.
Mm-hmm.
That's correct. When they added in 2019, they had a 2-year farm lease with a farmer, and evidently that didn't renew in the 2-year period between 2019 and 2021.
With it being such a small portion of the property that's farmland to begin with, I kind of agree with y'all that it seems a little either not thought through or maybe it was.
Yeah.
But I think we do need to maintain the integrity of the program, and it is not just to tuck it away for a couple of years. It is to maintain the rural character of the county and protect those people that do actually use their property for forestry and agriculture. So I'm in agreement there.
So you have a motion?
If I can find it.
Page, you got it.
I got it.
Okay.
It's Holtz Creek. Is Holtz Creek that we're talking about? Sorry.
There you go, second.
Mr. Chairman, I move to not adopt ordinance number O-01-22, application AFD-10-21, to withdraw tax map parcel 24-42 GPIN J20-3367-2258 consisting of 136.58 acres from the Holtz Creek Agricultural and Forestry District. Now I know why you let me.
Thank you, Ms. Lockwood. Are there any other comments? Now, Ms. Watkins, will you poll the members?
Mr. Steers? Aye. Mr. Lockwood?
Aye.
Mr. Tiller?
Aye.
Ms. Page? Aye. And Mr. Evelyn?
All right. Application denied. Item 5, public hearing AFD-11-21, withdrawal from the Warren Swamp Agriculture and Forestry District. A request by Barbara and Joseph Stanko to withdraw tax parcel number 36-41 GPIN I-27-3208-3274 from the Warren Swamp Agriculture and Forestry District. Ms. Adams.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, the applicants Barbara and Joseph Stanko have submitted an application to withdraw their 61.51 acre parcel of land located at 16860 Polish Town Road, Lenexa, in the Warren Swamp District. The Warren Swamp consists of 20 parcels totaling approximately 1,400 acres and is also set to renew in 2029. The new landowners wish to subdivide the parcel and build a new home, which is not allowed under the current County Code Section 6244 or the subdivision ordinance Section 91-10. The Planning Department anticipates a subdivision application in the near future, but we have not received one yet. That can only be approved after the AFD withdrawal is approved. You can consider this under ordinance number O-02-22. And Mr. Stanko is here with us tonight and we'll be happy to answer any questions that you have.
Well, I'll open up the public hearing first. Anyone signed up? Mr. Stanko, you don't have to sign up, so since you're the applicant, you. Yeah. All right, well, I'm going to close the public hearing. If you'd like to come up, make some comments,
I purchased the property, a couple months ago? So I didn't sign into the AFD. That's the way the property was. But our intent was, I'm currently a James City County resident. I am on the board of EDA. So we do want to come over to James City County, and I want to have a family subdivision. Something for me, my 2 daughters, and my son. So the only way I can do that is I have to pull it out of the registry. I have no intent of clearing all the land. I just want to have a place for my family to live. It's the only intent of the property. I'm not going to take all 62 acres of woods down. Not the goal, but I can't subdivide into a family subdivision as long as it's an AFD.
And that parcel is less than 75 acres, so it doesn't qualify for a cluster subdivision either way.
Plus, we get new taxpayers.
Yeah, well, I mean, and I am interested in some of your committees and what you have, because like I said, I've served in James City County for a couple of years, and as a voluntary position for the Economic Development Board, and I do want to come over to New Kent and bring my talents here. Bringing my talents to Miami. Right? Yes, I actually was going to bring my business over here too. I own a business in James City County, but unfortunately, I couldn't find the right space and right property. But I did try to relocate my business to James City County, or New Kent County.
All right. Anybody have any other questions for Ms. Adams?
So you bought the property.
Go ahead.
So you bought the property. You knew it was in the AFD program when you bought it.
Yes, my understanding from when talking with her and whatnot, that it shouldn't be a problem, but apparently the previous guy looks like he got
No,
it.
it's okay. I would just like to understand the
I would never.
So
There's always problems. I can
so
promise
then
you that.
The question would be to Sherry, was this also a new applicant when it was placed in here, or was this a renewal?
I think she's been in there a number of years, is what I recollect from her telling me. It's been ongoing, and like I said, she was making some money off the forestry program and whatnot. That's not my goal at all. Good.
Miss Patricia Rock owned the property prior to Mr. Stango purchasing it, and she has been in the AFD long before the moratorium was lifted back in 2010. And she's had the AFD in the property for quite a while. And Miss Patricia Rock, getting up in age, chose to be closer to her family and made the decision to sell the property.
Okay. Well, I would call it, different story altogether in this case. So I'm not reading to this one.
But even with the family subdivision, it's my understanding that after the third parcel, you have to put a paved road in there. That's still the case, right? I
That
guess
is the case, and I'm perfectly aware of it.
Okay, just want to make sure you are
Yes,
aware of that.
I'm aware that I have to pave that road,
State
and
standards.
it's not going to be cheap.
Okay, I just want to make sure that you know.
Perfectly aware.
Okay. All right,
Mr. Chairman,
Ms. Page.
no more discussion. I move to adopt ordinance number 0-02-22, application AFD-11-21 to withdraw tax map parcel number 36-41 GPI 127-3208-3274, consisting of 61.51 acres from the One-Eye Swamp Agriculture and Forestry District.
Thank you, Ms. Page. Any comments? Ms. Watkins, will you poll the members?
Mr. Lockwood?
Aye.
Mr. Tiller?
Aye.
Ms. Page?
Aye.
Mr. Steers? And Mr. Evelyn?
Aye, motion passed. Next public hearing, ordinance O-03-22, amendment of chapter 26, article 1, 2, and 3 of the New Kent County Code to amend the county's 2021 redistricting plan to align with the Commonwealth of Virginia adopted 2021 redistricting plan. Mr. Hathaway.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. I'm sure you remember at our December meeting, the board adopted its 2021 redistricting plan on December 13th. Well, on December 28th, the Supreme Court adopted the state's redistricting plan, which does not quite line up to the districts that we selected. The House of Delegates district will now split New Kent County. New Kent will be in the 60th district to the west, western half of the county, and the eastern half of the county will be in the 71st district. And I have all right. Kenny, if you could advance the slide. All right. All right.
You want to go to the last one real quick while you're working on that? Because you don't have a slide for that. Oh, there you go.
Yes, I can go to the.
All right, let's go to the last public hearing this evening. Fiscal year 2021 budget amendment to carry forward Quinton Elementary School appropriation, resolution R-06-22, excuse me. Mr. Hathaway.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is simply carrying forward funding from our previous fiscal year, and this funding is the funding set aside for the construction of the new Quinton Elementary School. It was not placed in our budget for FY23 just due to the timing. We were just getting started with the construction of the new elementary school at the beginning of the fiscal year. So we are now carrying forward those funds, but those are simply the construction funds for the new elementary school. This is the funding that we've received from the financing that occurred to fund the project. And for accounting purposes, we need to carry those forward to this current fiscal year. I will also add the construction of the new Quinton Elementary School appears to be slightly behind schedule, but there is a plan to catch up. But more importantly, the project is under budget right now. We are pleased with the progress of construction. There's been issues outside of our control, mainly the availability of steel. But that is trickling in, and as it is trickling in, it is being erected.
All right, thank you, Mr. Hathaway. I will open the public hearing. Anyone signed up? No one signed up? I'll close the public hearing. Any comments or questions from Mr. Hathaway? None, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I move to adopt resolution R-06-22. Do what? Am I reading the wrong one? Nope.
You're right. 06-22.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's all right. Calm down, Ron. You're on the wrong one. That's the one above it. Fiscal year ending 2021-2022, budget by carrying forward $23,959,617.65 in the FY21 budget appropriations for the Quinton Elementary School project.
That's the correct amount, right?
I thought we went to the last
No,
public hearing.
it's the right.
He's right. Thank you, Mr. Teller.
Not a problem. I don't mind being
Any
right.
discussion? Ms. Watkins, poll the members.
Mr. Tiller?
Aye.
Ms. Page? Aye. Mr. Steers?
Aye.
Mr. Lockwood?
Aye.
And Mr. Evelyn?
All right. All right, Mr. Vaughn, have you worked your magic yet? Doesn't look like it.
Let's go do 05 now.
Yeah, we do have number 7 that we can do.
Okay. We'll do fiscal year, open the public hearing, fiscal year 2021 budget amendment, annual end of year school funding transfer, resolution R-05-22. Mr. Hathaway.
Thank you. As you are aware, it is our process that at the end of the fiscal year, the schools are allowed to keep their unspent funding, and we appropriate that to their capital fund balance account. Usually that does not require a public hearing, but due to the amount of this year's unspent fund balance, it requires a public hearing because it's more than 1% of our budget that we are appropriating. And it's $1,162,647.88 that's unspent from the previous year. Why so much? Due to the amount of grant money that they've received, mainly CARES Act funding that they received last year, they were able to not spend county funds that were budgeted. So it's actually a good thing that they have that balance and they were able to utilize grant funding for their needs. They are asking that this be appropriated to their fund balance, which is the normal process. Now, when they're ready to spend these funds, they will have to appropriate the funds for the specific expenditure that they intend to use the funds for. That's when you normally see the appropriation request for the end of the year balance. So you'll have say in how this funding is spent, but we do need to appropriate it to capital fund balance now until the schools come up with a plan to utilize it.
Thank you, Mr. Hathaway. I will open the public hearing. No one signed up. Close the public hearing. Board members, do you have any questions, comments for Mr. Hathaway? If none, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll go ahead and try 05 again.
Yeah, you got it.
Mr. Chairman, I move to adopt Resolution R-05-22, amending the fiscal year 2021-2022 FY budget by appropriating and transferring annual end-of-the-year school funding in the amount of $1,672,647.88 to the capital fund.
Thank you, Ms. Tiller. Ms. Watkins, will you poll the members, please?
Ms. Page? Aye. Mr. Steers?
Aye.
Mr. Lockwood?
Aye.
Mr. Tiller?
Aye.
And Mr. Edelman?
Aye. I mean, we all have the maps. So
yeah, I can walk you through this.
It's pretty simple.
Right.
Yeah.
I can walk you through this. As I've mentioned, with the new Supreme Court plan that's been adopted for the state, it does split the county for the House of Delegates district. We will now share the 60th district to the western half of the county, and that 60th district includes all of Hanover and half of New Kent. To the eastern half of the county, we will now be in the 71st district, which includes all of James City, Williamsburg City, and the eastern half of New Kent. I believe the delegate that now represents that area is Amanda Batten. And if she runs during the next election, would run for this area. The 60th to the west would include the area. Scott Wyatt currently lives in that area, and he would be running for, if he chooses to run next election, would be running to cover the western half of the county. The reason I am before you is that line that divides the two districts does not line up with our redistricting plan. Which makes it difficult because now if we don't change the district, if you go to District 3 to vote, depending on where you live, you'll get a particular ballot. So District 3 and District 4 will both have to have two ballots to disseminate depending on where you live. The area that's not consistent in District 3 is mainly along Old River Road. The line was drawn at Old River Road, and then it goes up. I believe there's a creek that heads up to Hanover County off of Old River Road, and that's where the boundary line is drawn. It's a relatively small area, and there's only 18 residents that live in that area that's inconsistent. But if you remember when we adopted our redistricting plan, District 3 was already at a deviation rate of 4.96, I believe. And by law, we cannot have a deviation rate of more than 5. And deviation is whatever the average population is for all districts. You can't deviate more than 5% from the average. So with that small change, it puts us over the 5% deviation. So therefore, we're looking at amending the eastern border of District 3 with District 5. District 3 would lose some of the area that it currently has. District 5 would gain. That area, just as you draw the block groups, actually involves 74 residents. And that boundary line now becomes the Dominion transmission line to the east of District 3. The other change that's involved is District 4. The line, there is an area where the state line is inconsistent with our line, and that is at Old Roxbury Road. We would have to increase the size of District 4, move that boundary west to Old Roxbury Road, which would take from District 2. 94 residents are impacted in that. District 4 would pick up 94 residents. District 2 would lose 94 residents, which is fine. We still stay within the 5% deviation. Something else we paid close attention to was the black population of District 3. Our current plan had a black population of 2.73%. With what's being proposed, the population will decrease slightly to, 23.73% is the current black population. It would decrease slightly to 23.67% with the proposed plan. Sorry, I had some very nice looking maps to show you the areas that we're gaining and losing. But
we've been seeing these for a long time. You've been working on this for a long time. It's funny. It's a shame the state took so long. You've done all this work, and then you have to go back and do these changes.
Yeah.
Didn't you already have to make it for the senatorial change?
No, actually the senatorial change ended up that Supreme Court were considering several options, and one of those options also split the Senate districts, but what was actually adopted did not split the district, and it kept us whole. This is just a map of the 60th district, a map of the 71st district as it takes in James City and West Point. This is the area, that hatched area is the area that does not line up with the state line. The burgundy line is the state line. And the hatched area is actually where District 1 is that goes over the state line that we're going to amend. Same thing with District 4 and District 2. This hatched area right here is the area that does not line up with the state line and the area that needs to be amended. This is the revised plan before you. The red line highlights the areas that have changed, and it also shows the number of residents within that area. 18 and the change between District 1 and 3. Between District 5 and 3 is 72, and between District 2 and 4, there's 94. This is the new map that's being proposed. As you can see, the straight line to the west of District 3 is the Dominion transmission line. District 1 loses 18 residents. District 3 loses 54 residents. District 5 gained 72 residents. And then there was the 94 resident swap between District 2 and District 4. Yes.
So the way this map is
Put it on your mic, Ms. Page.
So with this proposed map, I have both of my precincts in the same They're voting for the same candidates?
No, with the proposed map, both of your precincts.
Both of them are in my district.
No, the Quinton precinct, and I'm sorry, I don't have a precinct map here, but the Quinton precinct will vote in the 60th. The Cumberland precinct will vote in the 71st. And the precinct lines line up with the state lines. So you do have split, but all of the precincts vote for the same candidate. We're not splitting precincts, which is currently the case.
All right, well, with that, I'll open the public hearing. Anyone signed up? I assume it's Mr. Hathaway, Reverend Hathaway.
He said, "I'm fooling y'all all night."
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board and staff. I'm Reverend Milton Hathaway. I live at 9001 Crunks Mill Road, and tonight I'm here on behalf of the New Kent branch of the NAACP. We are in support of the amended redistricting plan, and we want to give our appreciation to the board and staff. This has been a very thorough process from the very beginning, and at each stage we've been able to ask questions and really get answers. And so we totally support the plan and just appreciate what you've done and ask you to support it. Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend Hathaway, for your comments and all your help during this process.
And this side of Crumps Mill stays in my district, right? This side of Crumps Mill stays in my district.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. You don't want to give them up to me? Anybody have any comments or any other questions for Mr. Hathaway? Ms. Steers?
Where is the dividing line in the county for the delegates?
Sure. It is actually this hatched line right here. Yeah, and I don't know if you can see it from this map, but it is the hatched line. It follows a creek to the north here to Old River Road, and then to 155, Interstate 64, and this is Olivet Church Road, or our boundary, approximately Olivet Church Road. This is actually a little to the west of Olivet Church Road, and there's a creek that forms this boundary and then goes to Route 60, and it follows your district line completely, other than that small portion off of Old Roxbury. And really what it looks like the state did is they looked at our previous districts and they tried to follow our previous districts, but then when we changed, it threw it off.
Mm-hmm. So Mount Castle, I have the left-hand side so that they can keep their precinct.
Yes.
Okay.
This will not impact the precinct locations. Perfect. We'll be able to keep all of the existing precinct locations.
Okay, I'm good. And so my request, Mr. Hathaway, is once this adopted, can staff get us a list of the addresses in our district?
We can. In fact, one of the next steps in this process is the notification of the residents, which we'll be working with the registrar to do. So we'll be building an address list for each district and we'll be sending notices out to the residents informing them what districts they'll be voting from and where their precinct is as well. We can definitely get you that.
So does that go with their new voter registration card?
Yes.
Okay. I'm good.
Yeah, so would we be able to get a list of the changed, not just a list of the total district? So if it went from 3 to 5, would we be able to
I'm
identify
sure we can
those?
do that. Yeah, yeah, we should be able to do that.
I know where several of my people are.
You have a mutiny down there.
Yes.
I got all his buddies.
It's
He's
back
good.
to me.
No, it's not.
Oh, no, I don't. Okay.
You don't have a prison.
No, I'm looking
still
at
got
Polish
him.
Town, not there.
Okay.
It's all yours.
Oh, excuse me.
All right. Any other comments? All right, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman,
Ms. Toller?
I move, excuse me, I move to adopt ordinance O-03-22 to amend the county's 2021 redistricting plan.
Thank you, Ms. Tiller. Are there any comments? If none, Ms. Watkins, will you poll the members?
Mr. Steers? Mr. Lockwood?
Aye.
Mr. Tiller? Ms. Page?
Aye.
And Mr. Evelyn?
Aye. Motion carried. Any other?
One comment.
Mr. Tiller?
Just an update, Mr. Hathaway. The middle school basketball team won their first round tonight. The game over at middle school. So I did finally get an update on that.
Well, Virginia Tech's losing at halftime 29-25 right now to Virginia.
Can't all be good news.
So I can get home, hopefully watch the second half.
Thank you for all your hard work, Mr.
Yeah.
Hathaway. and
Yeah.
staff.
All the time.
Yes.
So appreciate it.
All right. The next regularly scheduled meeting of the Board of Supervisors will be held at 6 p.m. on Monday, March 14th, and the next work session at 9 a.m. on Wednesday, February 23rd, 2022, both in the boardroom of the County Administration Building. The budget retreat originally scheduled for 9 a.m. on February 18th, 2022, has been moved to 9 a.m. March 18th, 2022, and the location remains to be determined. Mr. Hathaway?
Yeah, the location has been confirmed for the ordinary.
Okay, thank you for the update.
Oh, he's the date.
Yes, Friday, March 18th. I will be presenting the budget at our March regular meeting on the 14th. And then we'll have our retreat the following Friday. I currently don't have all the numbers or the request for our budget next year, so I was unable to present that tonight.
No other comments? I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
Mr. Teller?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Teller. Ms. Watkins, will you poll the members?
Mr. Lockwood?
Aye.
Mr. Tiller?
Aye.
Ms. Page?
Aye.
Mr. Steers?
Aye.
And Mr. Evelyn?
Aye. Adjourned. Thank y'all.